Today, we're going to decode the future of your career. And our guide for this? It's not some futurist or a big-shot CEO. Nope. It's actually the brand new edition of a major academic textbook. And what's inside gives us a surprisingly clear map of the massive changes happening in your workplace right now. I mean, just think about it for a second. The rise of AI, remote work, the way we even think about our jobs, it feels like it's been completely turned upside down. It could seem pretty chaotic, right? But what if I told you there's a way to see exactly what's happening, and more importantly, why? Well, turns out there is.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at our guide, the textbook itself, and then dive into the 4 huge forces that are reshaping our jobs: technology, inclusion, our new post-pandemic reality, and how we can actually use old lessons to get through this new world. And then we'll wrap up by asking, what does all this mean for the future of talent?
Okay, so you might be thinking, how can a textbook predict the future? Well, when that book is the definitive guide on managing people, every little update it makes basically measures the seismic shifts in the professional world. It's like a powerful barometer for what's coming next. The book we're talking about is the 9th edition of Applied Psychology and Talent Management. And this isn't just some random book. It's been a cornerstone in its field for almost 50 years. So, when the authors decide it's time for a major update, it's a huge signal that the world of work has fundamentally changed. And believe me, this update was massive. To get this new edition out, the authors reviewed a staggering 7,685 journal articles. That is a deep, deep dive into the latest science of how we work. Now, this is where it gets really interesting and shows you just how fast things are changing. They didn't just add a few things here and there. They got rid of 435 older citations and added 570 brand new ones, all published since just 2019. That's a huge turnover, and it proves just how much the science of work has evolved in only a few years.
And here's why that really matters to you. All that new research isn't random. It actually points to some very clear patterns. The authors boiled it all down to 4 huge cross-cutting themes that are the biggest forces shaping your career at this very moment. So let's break down the first one.
The first big theme, and this probably won't come as a shock, is the absolute takeover of technology. Tech isn't just some tool that HR uses anymore. It is woven into every single part of our work lives. You know, what's really wild is just how broad this revolution is. We're talking about AI influencing hiring decisions, using games to screen candidates, and even putting on a VR headset for job training. Companies are even doing what they call cyber vetting, checking out your social media. It's a whole new world for sure, with incredible opportunities and some brand new challenges. Let's just take one quick example that a lot of us have probably been through: that pre-recorded video interview. On the one hand, yeah, it's got huge perks, like being way more flexible for people in different time zones, and it helps companies find talent from all over the globe. But on the other hand, there's no real human interaction, it can feel super impersonal, and it brings up some tough new questions about hidden biases and how those videos get analyzed. Okay, let's move on to our second theme, because technology isn't the only revolution happening. The textbook makes it crystal clear that there's been a profound shift in focus towards diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI. This is no longer just a side project. It's a central pillar of modern business strategy. So what's behind this huge push for inclusion? Well, it's really a response to some major real-world shifts. Our demographics are changing, there are new laws like Ban the Box, and there's just a much better understanding that fairness has to be baked into every decision, from who gets hired to who gets that big promotion. And this creates a really fascinating and, frankly, a pretty complex puzzle for companies. How in the world do you build a system that's truly fair and inclusive for everyone, but at the same time is razor-sharp at finding the absolute best person for the job? For a long time, it felt like you had to choose one or the other. And this is where the new science is so cool. The book talks about techniques like Pareto optimal weighting. Now, I know that's a mouthful, but the idea behind it is brilliant. Think of it like a sound engineer mixing a song. They're not just making the drums louder. They're adjusting every single instrument to get the perfect overall sound. This technique uses machine learning to do that for hiring. It finds the sweet spot that best satisfies performance, diversity, and inclusion goals, all at the same time. It's all about moving from trade-offs to true optimization. All right, the third major force the book points to is one that every single one of us has lived through. The COVID-19 pandemic didn't just change where we work, it fundamentally rewired the whole relationship between employers and employees. This new reality really comes down to 3 key shifts. First, obviously, the explosion of hybrid and remote work. Second, a really powerful employee-driven demand for better mental health support. And third, the absolute need for leaders who are resilient and can actually guide their teams through constant change. This isn't just about new office policies. It's a whole new social contract at work.
So, we've seen how tech, inclusion, and the pandemic are changing everything. This fourth and final theme is a little different. It's more like a guiding philosophy. The book argues that to get through this chaotic present, we have to ground ourselves in the hard-won lessons of the past.
What the authors are really pushing for is a clear, evidence-based approach. It starts with solid scientific theory, uses that science to build reliable tools, and only then puts those tools into practice. It's a deliberate path to make sure we're not just chasing the latest shiny tech fad, but actually building systems that work and are ethical.
The book really drives this point home with this powerful quote from the philosopher George Santayana. "Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it." In the world of work, that means not making the same old mistakes with hiring bias, or ineffective training, or just plain bad management.
And this is why it is so critical right now. The authors basically describe the current environment, especially with AI, as a new Wild West. Without a compass, one that's grounded in decades of research and strong ethics, it's just incredibly easy for companies to get lost. So, we've walked through the four massive forces that are reshaping our work lives, all seen through the lens of this incredible academic update. What does it all really mean for you and the future of your career?
Let's just put it all together. The future of work is really being built on four pillars. Technology is the foundation. DEI provides the blueprint for fairness. The new post-pandemic reality demands that the whole structure be flexible and resilient. And you know what? The best builders are going to be the ones who combine all the shiny new tools with the timeless wisdom of proven science.
And that leaves us with one last really important question to think about. As AI, algorithms, and automation start to handle more of the screening, the scheduling, and the analysis, what is the uniquely human role that's left? What will it truly mean to manage talent in the decade ahead?